David said it's only a step. Now death is known by many names. He's known by the name of being the grand grief. Death is departure from this life to another life. Death is expiration, and it is extinction. Although we may call death many names, and sometimes we call him names like this. We call him a thief, for he comes and takes away our loved ones. We call him a robber by night, because he moves in and he moves out. We call him the angel of destruction, because we feel that God has invaded our private presence. Sometimes we say that death is a watchdog, and that he is known as a high sheriff. We say death is the king of an empire, for he has in his empire many crossbones, scales, and skeletons. Whatever his name is, we know that he rides a pale horse. And he brings disappointment. He brings grief, and he brings sorrow. Death is hard to deal with. When we can make it very well, and we can make it very well on our own, when death comes in its natural order. But when it comes suddenly, it becomes grievous for us and hard to bear. The only way to meet sudden death is to be ready when death comes. And to be ready means that we ought to have our business fixed up with God. Man one day was looking over his field, who thought that he had a long time to live. And as he surveyed his field, he looked at all of the corn that was growing. He looked out in his field and he could see that his barn was full. But he never realized that he didn't have but one fleeting day. Because the Lord would come and call him in as a sudden death. Sudden death came to Belshazzar one day in Babylon. While they were dancing in the hall in Babylon. They were there, and all of a sudden, in the midst of the dancing and the gaiety, he decided that he would send down and get the golden and the silver vessel. But God also decided that he would send a message back. God sent a hand without an elbow and a hand without a wrist. And it began to write the writing on the wall. There was no problem with eyesight. No problem with darkness, because I am told it was by the candlestick. Don't you know God is writing? He's writing on the tables of our heart, telling us it's time for us to forsake our sinful ways. Telling us that it's time now to get on the morning train, for the evening train may be too late. He's telling us to get right with me. He's calling everyone from labor unto reward. After the party was over, Belshazzar had to leave on a midnight train because God had granted him all. You can't invade God's presence and not expect God to do anything about it. The Apostle Paul tells us how to handle sudden death. When he said, the time of my departure is at hand. And then when death comes, death won't be sudden, because I already know that I must die. All of us this afternoon are only traveling. We are traveling a road that will end one day. We must come one day to the end of the road. Methuselah lived 969 years, but one day he came to the end of the road. Moses lived 120 years, but he came to the end of the road. shall die. And the people then shall be troubled at midnight. And they will begin to pass away.
Yes, sir.
Mighty shall be taken away without a hand. In this conversation we find that Elijah is giving God's servant Job some good counsel. He's telling Job that Job has charged God with being unjust. He looked at Job and said unto him, God is a just God. Job began to sum it all up by saying, if I could only see the Almighty, then I would talk with him for myself. For after all, I believe that if I could get to him, then the Almighty would alter my case. You have come here, and you have come and sat down with me for 7 long days. Sat down with me for 7 long nights. But you haven't told me what I want to hear. You've told me about my problem. But simply telling me about my problem won't help me. It won't help me unless you can give me the solution. Job said, well, I understand what y'all are saying. But I need to speak with him for myself. Church, don't you know it's good to be on speaking terms with God? So that when trouble arises in your life, you won't have to worry about your soul. It's good to be able to be on speaking terms with the Almighty. For in times like these, he can dry tears from your eyes. Job said, just let me talk with God. And then I'll order my complaint before him. I know God has set bounds about me, by which I cannot pay. But I need to talk with him for myself. See, you telling me about the problem, but you haven't given me all of the answers. But I know a man who has the answer. See, because God would not have taken away all of my problems without another home prepared. God would not have taken away my children without some more in living. God would not leave me like this, with the balls from the crown of my head down to the sole of my feet, without some cure somewhere inside. So Job said, I want to order my call before the Almighty. I want to hold court with him. If I can hold court with him, I believe my God is a just God. Because he's too wise to do anything wrong. And he's too just to make any mistake. If I can have court with him, I believe he'll give me a fair deal. Oh, one day we got to stand before the judge. And if we get that privilege to stand before the judge, we'll have a just hearing. But Job said one thing I know. He said, my Redeemer lives. He's going to stand up in the latter day upon this earth. Though the skin worm would destroy this body of mine, yet in my flesh shall I see God. And I shall see him for myself, and mine eyes shall behold it and not another. Oh, if I could just get in touch with him. After a while, God began to speak and said to Job, Job, where were you when I laid the Jack Frost on the mountain? Where were you when I hung the moon out in the night? Where were you when I brought the sun early this morning? Job said, God, I believe I'll shut up now. I'll just leave it in your way. When death comes, don't be afraid. Because death is only moving to a brand new land. Don't be afraid of dying as long as you got your business fixed with God. Because we're moving to another world. Over there where there'll be no sorrow. Where there'll be no more envy. Where there'll be no more hatred among mankind. But it'll be a land where we'll live from on and on. I'm told that in that land and in a day of time, God does for us what we can't do for ourselves. God lets us lay down in a state of inactivity. And then God works over our body. Because the soul has already gone back to God. and God has kissed it and welcomed it home. But God lets us lay down sometime, and I don't know how long it will be. Don't know where I'll be when that day comes. But one thing I know, my bones will rise again. I know that I will be changed in the moment and the twinkling of an eye. After all of the activity, don't you know God is going to do something for us? He's going to give us a brand new mind, and He's going to give us a brand new heart. He's going to give us a right spirit, and He's going to give us wings that we can fly with, and that we can be at rest. Death comes suddenly. Sometimes it comes in the morning. Sometimes it comes at midnight. But when it comes, and you can be assured, death will rise his pale walk. Be ready when it comes.
Thank you.